All right, remind me never to trust Toyota with a secret or just don't trust their PR team. I don't know what it is. We'll get into it. But Toyota has leaked, accidentally apparently, the slowest developed, worst kept secret in Toyota history, which is the MKV Supra. That's the Mark V Supra, which now that it's officially leaked, still not officially leaked, the official reveal comes out in a couple of days, but you can be disappointed early. So it's such a terrible, nobody can get the formula to Coca-Cola for 70 years, but Toyota can't keep a photo of their car off the internet without camouflage on it. It's on purpose. I'll tell you why I think it's on purpose in a minute, but let's start with the car. So you look at the car now, you see some features, you see it driving around, and you're like, all right, it validates the rear yellow shot and the front red shot and just the overall shots that have been released already in the past couple of weeks. And it's just one of those things, it's like slightly disappointing. You look at the shot, you look at the car, and you're like, great. It's not an FT1. It's not a Supra. I think that Toyota, I don't know why these manufacturers they put so much time and effort into this stuff, and they're just so out of touch with the customers. And the NSX was one of the biggest flops I've ever seen. The NSX sold they built 160 cars last year or last month, whatever. I think it was a year or a month. I think it was 160 cars in 2018. That's ridiculous. That is not what they had in mind. But they didn't build an NSX. They built something else, and then they called it an NSX. And I think that's what we were running into here with the Supra, is that everyone, when they let's invigorate that fan base. Let's build another Supra because people love the Supra. And then they don't build another Supra. They just name it the Supra. And people are like, well, that's not what I wanted. You said you were going to build another Supra. You built, all they really built was what the BRZ was supposed to be. If you look at it, it looks like a BRZ. You look at the rear third, and it's like, oh yeah, it looks like a cool BRZ. But it's not an FT1. It's let's revive the Supra. Here's a cool prototype. Everyone's like, cool Supra, cool prototype. And then they deliver this. And it's just meh. You're not appealing to people. And that's what I think they're trying not to go the way of the NSX, where they just completely disappoint and they have abysmal sales, by leaking it out a little bit in advance. Now, I think, and this is total speculation, this is a little bit of a stretch, but I think by leaking it out, the people, the forums, the guys that really care, like me, that they're like, I'd love to get a Supra if it's cool, and then it's not cool, and I'm like, I'm really bummed that the Supra is not that great. We find out early, and we dump our stuff, and it sort of fizzles out. So when they do their official reveal, all the PR is good. And the regular people that aren't following along or paying attention to everything, they just see the reveal at the auto show, the USA Today, the CNNs, the Fox News, all these major manufacturers or the major media outlets that they're just going to blow smoke up Toyota's ass and say what a great car. Oh, look, the new Supra just came out, and hey, Ma, check this out. They made a new Supra. So all the people that were currently already disappointed in it, they're you could be disappointed early and then hopefully lose interest. You've done your rounds, and now we can just focus on a PR effort to try to build and sell the car to the general public and not you. So that's my take as to why it was the case. I don't know, man. It would be a cool BRZ. This is actually what the BRZ, when people bought the BRZ, what they were hoping it would be. It's no slouch. There's no Nürburgring time, but when I was at the Nürburgring, I ran just a little over a 9-minute lap, and I was only with that Supra. He passed me, and he walked me in a couple of corners. So right there, that shows that the Supra is probably running, if I'm running a 9-minute lap, just say he's doing a low 8. So don't be surprised if that car is going to come back and run a low 8-minute, maybe even high 7-minute lap time at the Nürburgring. Now, I mean, they're going to do the official reveal, but I don't know why bother at this point in time. We know exactly what the car is going to look like. We were hopeful, and it's been pretty credible, the leaks thus far, so the hopeful was, I don't know. was so cool about the previous Supra that everybody liked? It was moddable, right? It was analog, and it looked cool. It looked vastly different than the production line. Like it was like something that was like cool, big wing. Like it was noticeable. That the option without the wing, it should definitely have come with a wing from the factory. It should be moddable from the factory. It should be analog and manual from the factory. If you want to call it a Supra, the same thing with the NSX. If you want to make a performance version that's better in every way, shape, or form, make that. But that's not what the base wants. They don't want a paddle shift BRZ that's got a slight facelift and say, look, well, yeah, you could swap it to a 2JZ if you want it. I could swap a Supra to a 2JZ and it looks cooler. Like I rather have a 96, 97, 98 Supra than have this. It's why am I going to make your car, like butcher your car and spend all this money to try to do it when it doesn't even look as good as the old one? It's not. Personally, I think the old one looks better than this. Now, if you compare the look of a, just say like a 92, 93 base Toyota to the Supra, I mean, you could see they're made by the same manufacturer, but one is like, that's cool, that's not. Now it's like, that's okay, there's something different about that, but it's not like, look at these, this is our sports car, this is our peasant car, and that's the problem. I mean, there is a fundamental lack, and it's the guy in the video. I think it's the guy with the glasses. I think it's his fault. So I'm going to blame him. But like, how can you be so out of touch? If you're going to name a car something, and again, I think that this car would do great if it was an FRS asterisk or an FRSR. Like, but if you call it a Supra, people are expecting something different. That was the same thing that the NSX had. I think the NSX would have done much better if it was A, priced well, and B, if it was not called the NSX. I think the same is true for the Supra. I don't get why manufacturers do this. They're like, we're going to reveal it on this day, but we're going to reveal it beforehand. So it like takes all the thunder out of it for the enthusiasts, who are the ones who are supposed to be carrying the energy of these launches and then spreading it around the internet. But if you go on Supra forums and everything's already listed there and people are already bitching about it, then what's the point? All right, that's what I got. Keep in mind. No, I'm not keeping mine. I'm going to stick with my generation. Same thing with the NSX. I like the older cars. I don't know if that's dating me and saying like, I just like them because I liked them when I was younger. I'm just not impressed by the new ones, either the NSX or the Supra. Even if it drives cool, I'm not going to say, I'm going to reserve judgment as to whether I will purchase one or not. But if I purchase one, it's more than likely I would purchase it as a rental car and not as a personal car. But we will see. Stay tuned. For those of you not familiar with my other company, I started a company called Adventure Drives, which combines driving and bucket list travel. So it's a lot of fun. Our next trip is up to the Northern Lights in Iceland at the end of February. We're going to be doing snowmobiling on glaciers, off-roading, taking a dip in the Blue Lagoon, and drinking whiskey until we're silly. So that's going to be a lot of fun. After that, we're off to Europe for a trip in July. If you're interested, prices can be done per person. It starts at about $3,000 per person for Iceland. Don't worry, if you don't have somebody to go with you, we can match you up with somebody. You can check the link in the description for adventuredrives.com and sign up today.